the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Happening now at 9, a new head coach in command. The Commanders set to officially welcome Dan Quinn to the staff tomorrow. Reactions from fans across the DMV to this offseason shakeup. And Metro announcing some changes to service this weekend. We have a breakdown of those delays you can expect on the red, green, and yellow lines. Plus, stretching your dollar tonight, tracking the perks of auto pay and the discounts you can get on your bills.
And we have clear skies out there right now, and temperatures are going to drop once again, just like last night. Will it be as cold as last night? Well, stick around. I'll have the answer to that question coming up.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for DC News Now at 9. I'm Marielle Carbone, in for Ben Dennis tonight. And some breaking news for the top of the show. According to multiple reports, the Washington Commanders have hired Cliff Kingsbury to be their new offensive coordinator. Now, Kingsbury coached the Arizona Cardinals from 2019 to 2022. And this hire, it's a potential sign that DMV native Caleb Williams will be drafted to his home team of the Commanders. Our sports anchor Brandy Flores will have much more coming up tonight on DC News Now at 10, as well as on game night at 11. And more positive news for Commanders fans. The wait is nearly over. For the first time tomorrow, they'll hear from their new head coach, Dan Quinn, as he formally is introduced. Now, Quinn takes over for Ron Rivera, who the Commanders fired at the end of the regular season. DC News Now's Dave Laval joins us from Chinatown. And Dave, you spoke to fans anticipating this big day. What do they have to say?
Well, good evening to you, Marielle. We can tell you there is certainly a lot of excitement and curiosity regarding Dan Quinn. After all, the Commanders are a team that have not had a winning season since 2016.
Hopefully make some great changes for us.
Count Sharella Butler among the Washington faithful, expecting big things from Dan Quinn as the Commanders' new head coach.
When you bring in someone new, you can bring some new ideas and hopefully bring us together as a great team and give us some great direction to do better.
Quinn joins Washington after 3 seasons as defensive coordinator for division rival Dallas. Lifelong fan Kunta Mambure likes the pick.
He's very cultured. He knows how to build, like I said, a culture and a strong defense. We don't need the sexy pick. We need the one that makes sense.
This is Quinn's second stint as a head coach. Before Dallas, he spent 6 seasons in charge of the Atlanta Falcons, where Quinn posted a 43-42 record. His claim to fame or infamy during that time, the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead and lost to the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51. Despite that, Commanders fans we spoke to are excited about Quinn's arrival.
You can never doubt a person when they come in. I just want to see what he's going to do when he steps through the door.
DC native Javon Best roots for Philadelphia, but Quinn could change that.
I'm a DC native. I've been from Washington, D.C. all my life, born and raised. So, I feel like if he does make a difference, then I probably am going to become a Commanders fan again.
However, not everyone is glad to see Quinn with the Commanders.
I'm a Cowboys fan, and for Dan Quinn to go to the Commanders is crazy.
Quinn is the first head coach hired by Josh Harris since he bought the Commanders right before the start of the season, and new general manager Adam Peters. But again, Dan Quinn will be formally introduced as the head coach during a Monday afternoon news conference that is scheduled to start at 2:30. And of course, we will have coverage of that throughout the day. We're live in Chinatown. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
A lot of excitement this weekend happening in sports. Scott Sumner here to take a look at the weather. Not as much excitement happening over there. Pretty quiet. We like that.
Yeah, Marielle, a lot of changes going on in sports, but no status quo here in the weather department as far as what we're looking forward to. 43 degrees. We've got clear skies out there, and that's allowing in places outside the district to really cool down and get into the 30s tonight. We'll have 20s as well, and that does include the district too, because even though it's in the 40s, low 40s, 40s here in D.C. We'll eventually get around the midnight hour into that 30-degree range and potentially bottom out around 29 or 30 degrees around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning before that rebound occurs here by mid-morning and we get into the middle 30s. So just like this morning, although a lot of people didn't have to get up as early this morning as they will tomorrow, maybe for work or for school, it will affect you either way. What isn't impacting us is this shower activity that's down across portions of Georgia, as well as Alabama and Mississippi and parts of even the southern end of South Carolina. That thankfully will stay away here. So we've got another chilly night ahead and magnificent Mondays. I put a quiet weather pattern overall and clouds and rain late week. Well, we'll talk about that and what to expect coming up.
All right, thanks, Scott. A man is in custody in connection to an overnight stabbing in Northwest D.C. It happened on 18th Street around 2:40 this morning, and police say the victim was taken to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. 33-year-old Leon Taylor of Northeast is now charged with assault with the intent to kill. Staying in the district, police are investigating two separate shootings just minutes apart that left two men injured overnight. The first happened around 2:30 on N Street Northwest. The victim there, a male, was found conscious and breathing. And then 10 minutes later, another shooting, this time on 12th Street in Southeast. The victim there, also a male, conscious and breathing on scene. Police are looking for a blue Chevy Impala with Virginia tags in connection to that second shooting. Meanwhile, in Virginia, police in Fairfax County say one person is dead and 6 others injured. That's following a 2-car crash in Annandale this morning. Officials say it happened at the intersection of Braddock Road and Bradfield Drive. 7 adults were taken to the hospital. 1 man died on his way. 2 other people sustained life-threatening injuries. There is no update on their conditions at this hour. And staying in the Commonwealth, Alexandria, Virginia's top cop is leaving. Police Chief Don Hayes has been tapped for a new assignment up at the federal level. Hayes was with the department for 44 years, the last 2 of which he was chief. Now, the city says it's launching a national search for his replacement, but in the meantime, Assistant Chief Raul Pedroso will serve as interim chief. And there is a new push to address the overdose rate in West Virginia. It is the highest in the nation, according to the CDC. Now, the new bill, it is headed to Governor Jim Justice's desk, and it would decriminalize all drug testing strips used to detect deadly substances. Right now, those testing strips are considered illegal drug paraphernalia. The governor hasn't said whether he supports the bill, which does have bipartisan support. And in Virginia, Monumental Sports is providing an overview of a transportation plan for the new sports arena and entertainment district at Potomac Yard. They are doing this in collaboration with the city of Alexandria and the state. The plan came in at a time when residents have voiced their concerns over the development.
Things have the possibility of turning into a parking lot around here, and that's simply unacceptable for the quality of life for people who live in Potomac Yard and Alexandria and Arlington County as well.
The plan proposes to add more fare gates at the Potomac Yard Metro and to turn lanes to separate game day traffic from commuters and locals. In Maryland, state officials are pushing a new bill to improve fire safety in high-rise buildings. A state delegate is introducing a bill named after Melanie Diaz. The 25-year-old died in the Arrive Apartments in Silver Spring last year. The bill requires high-rise buildings to install smoke alarms in public corridors and notify renters if their buildings do not have sprinkler systems. Lawmakers introduced a similar bill last year, but it did not pass. And back in the district, council members will take their first vote this week on a massive crime bill introduced by Councilwoman Brooke Pinto. DC News Now's Tosin Fakili has more on the next step for this omnibus legislation.
That first vote on the major safety bill that Councilmember Brooke Pinto says would increase crime prevention and strengthen accountability, that vote is on Tuesday. Now, the legislative package combines provisions from Pinto's Secure DC plan introduced in September 2023, as well as several provisions, including some from Mayor Muriel Bowser's Safer, Stronger bills. The Secure DC Omnibus legislative package will do several things, including harsher penalties for gun-related crimes and and shoplifting, expand the definition of carjacking to improve how it's prosecuted, reinstate MPD's ability to declare drug-free zones in crime hotspots, and those are just to name a few. Now, some provisions in the Omnibus Act have sparked controversy among some groups. This legislative package is a response to the rising crime in the district that the district saw in 2023. According to police data, violent crime went up about 39% from 2022 to 2023 in D.C. And D.C. Police Chief told DC News Now last week that they're continuing to work hard to drive crime down. And one critical aspect is working with juveniles. And she says passing the Secure D.C. Omnibus will help.
We have juveniles. I mean, it seems to be for almost every report we receive, it's usually a juvenile wearing a ski mask. We've got to ensure that we pass this legislation for DC Secure, because that's going to give us an additional tool in order to address these crimes. And we need to make sure that there's some accountability to these young people.
D.C. Council's legislative session starts this week, and it's expected the Secure D.C. Omnibus legislation will pass the first vote. That vote is this Tuesday, February 6th. In the studio, I'm Tosin Fakile. Back to you.
And heads up, commuters, Metro will be doing maintenance and repairs on several rail lines the rest of the weekend. Here are some closures and changes you should keep in mind if you're hopping on that train over the next few hours. These changes, they impact the red, green, and yellow lines. On the red line, Woodley Park and Cleveland Park stations will be closed. Free shuttle buses will be available to bridge the gap in service between DuPont Circle and Van Ness. And then on the green and yellow lines, trains will be single tracking between Mount Vernon Square and L'Enfant Plaza. Regular service is expected to return tomorrow, and all other lines will operate as normal. Well, check this out. A D.C. woman is celebrating 100 years. Thelma Johnson Taylor marked the special day yesterday with a surprise party thrown by her friends and family. Now, believe it or not, she just stopped driving last year, but that doesn't mean she isn't as spry as ever. She says she overheard her family whispering and put two and two together about the surprise, so she made sure to keep her schedule clear.
I didn't have anything. My family planned, and it was supposed to be a surprise, but I kept hearing little things, people calling me and saying things. So I'm very happy that they are celebrating my 100th birthday today.
Oh, what a great day for her. And Johnson Taylor says there is no secret to getting to 100 years old. She says she just focused on her faith and on her family.